I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that, and let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late.
Madam Vice President, thank you so much for doing this and making the time.
Of course.
I'm just a little bit busy right now. We want to start on an issue that Americans across the country say is their number one concern, and that's the economy. Mm-hmm. A question that has been asked of you and everybody that's on the Democratic side is whether or not voters are better off now than they were 4 years ago. Are they better off now than they were 4 years ago?
So when we came into, well, first of all, let me just say, it is good to be with the National Association of Black Journalists, and I thank you for the work you do and that your members do every day. It is very important that we ensure that this organization and your members always have the resources and the platforms to deliver the voices that must be heard. So I thank you for hosting me today.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It is a new day. We thank the good Lord it's a new day. Thank God it is a new day. So good to see you. Thanks for stopping by again. It's me again, WJ on Itana One Life, many seasons. So real quick, you just saw two huge contrasts of a reception that was given to President Trump and to Vice President Kamala Harris at the NABJ interviews. President Trump's was held some time ago, I think about a month or so ago, and now you just had the one with Kamala Harris. And I just wanted to show you the contrast of the reception that they both received. Now to the main question of the day, because this was a very long interview. I cannot put the whole thing here. I'll put a link if you want to see it, if you haven't seen it. But the focus today was a question, an important question that was asked to Kamala Harris about black men, more black men now turning and voting red. What is your message to the black men that are voting red? How can you win them over? How can you earn their vote? So let's just go right in and see how she responded.
Madam Vice President, black men, as you know, are a closely watched voting bloc. You've hosted black men at your residence.
Yep.
You have engaged black men and centered them in your economic opportunity tour.
Mm-hmm.
But polling shows that some black men, particularly young black men, are considering voting for Donald Trump, and they see him as better for the economy. What is your message to young black male voters who feel left out of this economy, and how can your economic policies materially change their lives?
So I appreciate the spirit of the question, but I'll tell you, I've often been asked this question in a way that I've had to respond by first saying that I think it's very important to not operate.
Wait a second. Is it me or am I overreading this? she seems extremely nervous, not confident, doesn't seem to have her thoughts together. I don't know what's going on. Please let me know in the comment section. Please let us know what you think about this. It just seems like she's a little out of it, but let's just go on.
From the assumption that black men are in anybody's pocket. Black men are like any other voting group. You got to earn their vote. So I'm working to earn the vote, not assuming I'm going to have it because I am black, but because the policies and the perspectives I have understands what we must do to recognize the needs of all communities. And I intend to be a president for all people. Specifically as it relates to what we need to do, to your point around economic opportunity. Yes, I started way before I was at the top of the ticket and what I called an economic opportunity tour, focused on black men. Understanding that, for example, we have so many entrepreneurs in the community who do not have access to capital, but they've got great ideas, an incredible work ethic, the ambition, the aspiration, the dream, but don't have the relationships necessarily. So my work has included, as vice president, getting billions more dollars into community banks, including working with the big banks to do that, so that we can increase access to capital for our small businesses, for our startups. Part of my plan under my economic opportunity plan going forward is that right now, startup entrepreneurs, small businesses only get a tax deduction of $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So I'm expanding that to $50,000. Understanding, again, that when people have the opportunity to have the resources to get started, they're going to put the good ideas, they're going to put the hard work into it. And part of what I also know is that our young black men, our black men, just like any group of people, anybody, our small businesses are really the backbone of our economy overall. And when they do better economically, we all do better.
I'm just not feeling confidence. She's not believable. You talking all the talks, 50,000, but you got to back that up. Where's that going to come from? 50,000 for small businesses, 25,000, for new home buyers. Where is all that coming from? That's another comfort level you got to build into people, because it's all well and good to say it, but when people cannot see where it's coming from or how is this going to happen, it remains not believable. And she's just not confident. I don't know. She hasn't won me over with anything at this point. I'm not sure what she's saying. And I'm finding it very hard to believe that the Democratic Party is confident, really, to say this is their nominee. It almost feels like she's forced into the role, like they didn't have a choice, but they had to kind of put somebody in there. When I saw her at the DNC, Kamala, and at the debate, she looked a little more professional. She looked a little more, well put together. Even though at the debate it was a whole lot of jargon she was saying, but even then, you could say something that's not true and make it believable. Some people are very skilled at that, but she came across like saying what she was saying, which was nothing really. But if you were not listening carefully, you probably would believe it, right? But her normal self that I know, her comfort zone is this. Just rambles, not confident, not believable. You can't make any sense out of what she's saying. And this is the real Kamala. And I don't know, as a black man, what I'm supposed to make of this. I cannot see this as my leader. When I need a leader, I need somebody who's proactive. I need someone who's precise. I need someone who's confident. I need someone I know in front of other leaders of the world. And, The United States is a world leader. You cannot go timid. You have to go as a strong leader. I don't see that in this lady. Let's just wrap this section up.
Part of my work is about understanding what we need to do in dealing with, for example, the historic inequities that have faced the black community around home ownership, right? I don't have to go through the history with anybody here about what that has meant in terms of redlining, what that has meant in terms of biases in home appraisals, and what the impact it has had on stemming the opportunity to build intergenerational wealth because of those obstacles. So part of the work that I have done and will continue to do is identify, speak truth about those obstacles, and address them. Another example is medical debt. 1 in 4 black families or individuals is more likely to carry medical debt than others.
Why haven't you done it? You're in a position to do it now. So if you haven't done it now, you're not going to do it later. And this is why people are not buying it. It's not believable. You have been in this office. You have been with Biden. And in most cases, as you like to brag, you're the last person in the room with Biden. And we all know if anything happens to a president, the VP, next man up. So essentially, you are the president. But you haven't done all these things you're saying, and all this talks about we're going to look into, we're going to identify. What are you talking about? There's so much to be done. You have to be precise. You have to be definitive. And you are not. You're not confident. You don't sound like a leader.
So part of my perspective, and as vice president, part of the work that we have done is to say that we're going to eliminate medical debt from being on your credit score. Because until now, medical debt worked against your credit score, and people know their credit score like your weight, right? You know that number. And the difference between what that number is and what it needs to be is the difference between you being able to get a car loan, a small business loan, or even a leasing on an apartment. And so part of my approach is understanding the obstacles that traditionally and currently exist to allow anyone, including black men, be able to achieve economic wealth. And
if you have not understood it by now, you're in office. We don't have time for trial and error. If you haven't understood it right now that you're in the office, you're not going to understand it. This is just jargons right now. It's just not comforting to be hearing this from someone who is in the office right now and who wants to be a president. If you don't understand, you're still trying to understand what's going on. There's a bigger problem. There's a bigger problem.
I'm going to tell you, I don't think it is sufficient to just only talk about economic policy around reducing unemployment. It is an important marker, and I'm proud of the work that we've done thus far, but it should be a baseline there. Everybody's working.
If you're proud of the work you have done, it should be easy for you to answer the first question you were asked at the debate and you were asked at this interview. Are we better off today than we were 4 years ago? Let it go on the record. Kamala did not answer the question. It still hasn't answered the question yet. And now this question about black men voting red. What is your message to the black men? Still doesn't have any message to black men. No convincing message. Well, I think we get the message. So the message here is no message to black men. So, hey, pray, think critically, and vote. Please put your comments in the comment section below. Let us know what you think about this. Again, I'll put a link for the full interview. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's all over the place. You can see it. But I wanted to focus just on this particular specifically about black men now voting red, considering going a Republican and voting red, and if she has a message to win them over and earn their vote. But obviously for me, this did not do it at all. I still see a lot of political talking points, but not actual policies here. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know how we like to wrap it up. We just like to remind ourselves that we always remember that we got one life with many seasons. So let's make the best of it. God bless you. Keep smiling, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.